Welcome into the Treehouse. Time to leave your worries outside and join me, Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Oh, so much has been happening, and it makes me smile because that means we have so much to choose from. It's like walking up to the treehouse and looking at the tree that engulfs the treehouse, full of content fruit, just ripe for the picking. So this is one of those days we get to just kind of stand back on the ground or stand in the treehouse and reach out the treehouse window and just pluck a little content fruit right off the tree. My vote is going to start today with the piece of content fruit of Kid Rock enjoying himself a nice Bud Light at a concert. I think the Latin name for that piece of content fruit is hypocritus fruitus.
Yes.
So
Majorus.
All right, I guess I have missed the news. So last time I saw Kid Rock was shooting like an AK-47 at a case of Bud Light. What happened?
Trey, you better be careful because that's where the gun nuts are. We're going to come get you and say, if you're going to say it's a type of gun, you better get it right. Otherwise, you're stupid and shouldn't talk about guns. That's not a type of gun, Trey.
Oh, sorry.
It's a rifle. This is a non-gun owning.
He was shooting
Hindu.
a firearm.
He was shooting an automatic weapon at cases of Bud Light.
Yes.
And honestly, if we are being honest, he was shooting at the cases of Bud Light poorly.
Yeah, that's
because you could see the bullets hitting the dirt stuff around the cases of Bud Light.
That would be like me shooting at it. That's the
it's
same
like, kid,
thing.
man, you need to get a compensator on that thing.
Yeah,
you're all over the place.
There's a reason his name is not Kid Glock.
Although now I feel like that's a missed marketing opportunity on his part.
Oh, just wait.
There's going to be somebody. There's going to be a Kid Glock now.
Raj is going to be like, I should have trademarked that.
Yeah. There might still be time. No, over the weekend, Trey, the other day, Kid Rock was spotted. Raj, what concert was Kid Rock at?
In Nashville, Tennessee, at the Colt Ford concert. Our buddy Robert Ritchie was in the suite of his buddy Colt Ford and was caught by paparazzi enjoying a giant, not just a 12-ounce, my friend. Oh no, a 32-ounce Bud Light.
Oh, a trailer park size.
Well, would you expect anything else from Kid Rock? I'm like, yeah, he tried to marry Loretta Lynn. I'm just saying, it was, yeah. And he was caught by paparazzi. And my favorite caption was somebody underneath in one of the comments went, "They tricked him." I'm like, really? They tricked him? That's what I want to know.
I mean, it's a blue can. I'm sorry. That's the only beer I can think of that has that blue on the can with the very large white letters, Bud Light. How do you trick somebody?
It is impressive what people will do when hypocrisy is rears its ugly face. Like somebody's like, well, what if there were no other options?
I'm not sure what was more obvious, the fact that it was a can of Bud Light or that his hypocrisy was on such visible display.
Yeah, you have to be he knew what he was doing. Like you're very self-aware, right? Like you're Kid Rock. You're very visible in that arena, and all somebody has to do is just turn around and snap a picture, which is what happened. And they sent it into TMZ, and TMZ broke the story, and then the New York Times covered it, and then everybody else started covering it. But one of them was like, "What if there were no other options?" I'm like, "Well, is that where integrity lies?" I was like, you know what? I was like,
"Your Kid Rock.
I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice.
No, you're Kid Rock. You can get
Sip
whatever
whiskey.
you want.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? As a recovering alcoholic, let me say, in a pinch, that need will triumph your moral stance on something. If you just had to have a beer, maybe it was the only domestic option, and he still pro-American, and so he went with Bud Light over like a Heineken.
Okay, so here's my theory, and we've all been to sporting events and we've all been to concerts, correct?
Yes.
There are 1,000 vending places. There's 1,000 bars. There's 1,000 beer tubs throughout the entire arena. You're telling me that Kid Rock has lost so much clout and so much relevance that he can't send someone to find him other beer? Like, is that where we're at? Like, Kid Rock can't like summon me something else, for I am against this Bud Light. Or is Kid Rock telling us, hey, I'm okay with the movement?
Well, see, that's
I'm
that's
just
what
saying.
that's what I'm curious about. It was this intentional? Was it an intentional signal to say, "Hey, everybody, Bud Light's cool again"?
Yes,
Like
I'm
somehow the
okay.
marketing department did something to win back Kid Rock's favor to where
Yes.
he would stop shooting cases of Bud Light.
Was there a letter sent? Was there a gift basket of some sort sent to the the Rock trailer mansion? And was it in that letter? Was it so overwhelming and so sweet and powerful that the Kid Rock, not the Rock, the Kid Rock had no other choice but to say, you know what, mea culpa, Bud Light, mea culpa, Anheuser Busch.
We don't speak Latin in here, Raj.
You just did at the beginning of the show.
I
Shut
mean,
up.
aren't
So
we aren't we giving Kid Rock? I mean, this is a guy who's hit song is "Ba with a Ba." I mean, are we really gonna give him this much clout?
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
he's like a redneck king.
Yes.
If his choices were Bud Light or Estella, he's gonna go with Bud Light.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you on that. And my thing is, when it comes to relevance, he's doing what he can to stay relevant. Because I don't know if you know, he released an album not too long ago that I don't think went plastic. I don't think like. And there's one song, I can't remember the name of it, but the whole song is about how he has no F's to give, and the whole song is about all of the F's he has to give. And I'm like, it just random. Like, I felt so dirty. It's like I felt like when I posted on my Facebook when I accidentally started listening to the first 30 seconds of a Creed song because I couldn't place where it was because I hadn't heard Creed in so long. And then I immediately changed the channel. And I
good
felt
choice.
like I had to take a shower because I was like, oh, that was Creed.
Is it possible that the Bud Light marketing department, in one of the great fails of the 21st century in corporate marketing, redeemed itself by using the same tactic it used to get in such hot water in the first place? Because what got them in trouble was sending a trans influencer her whatever own personalized can of Bud Light. It wasn't a huge marketing shift where they're going to have trans people on every can across America. All they did was they sent a personalized can to one individual. So did they, in their attempt to win back Kid Rock, send him a Kid Rock personalized Bud Light can? And he was just so overwhelmed at the touching gesture that he felt the need to come back in
Oh
to
yeah,
the Bud Light fold.
that could be it. He could have walked into that suite with the F Anheuser Busch mentality, and then there was the cooler with his face on every can. And
It probably looked like one of those massive displays the week of the Super Bowl that
yeah,
goes from the grocery store floor all the way to the ceiling. And all
yeah,
the cans and the boxes are turned in just a way where it looks like Kid Rock's face
yeah. And
with a
there was
little
so
note on a little
yeah.
sign that just says, "Where saw we?"
And there were so many cans that it looked like what his audiences used to look like. And it just there was there was some nostalgia there, like, oh, that's what my crowds used to look like. Thanks, Anheuser Busch. I understand. We're back, and he just cracked himself open a can and then walked right to the front of 40,000 people in an arena and decided to hold it in his hand.
So maybe that's part of the controversy is TMZ is withholding the other side. Like in the photo, all you see is the Bud Light logo. What if on the other side of the can that's facing Kid Rock is
Yeah.
the photo of him on the can?
Oh, I wouldn't. I mean, he's gonna stare at himself while he drinks it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect nothing less. I would do the same. I'm just saying. Yeah, my the dip in sales is maybe what caught Anheuser-Busch by surprise. You know what I mean? Like, and so they went, "Hey, listen, we got to get back. We got to get the kid back." And that's what they did because what did you say the dip in the numbers were? Like Trey, you were saying like 10,
I mean, it's been estimated it's about 20 billion.
20 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. I wouldn't expect it to be that much, but yeah, I mean, so they were like, how do we recover 20 billion? And
I wonder if one of the things that they attempted to do was because usually with stories like this, you can skate them when the next big thing happens, but the next big thing really didn't happen. And maybe that was another fail on Bud Light's marketing department.
I don't think they failed. I don't think they personally failed because I was at a bar and there was an older gentleman sitting next to me, and I don't care about politics. I enjoy a cold Bud Light. I don't care about politics. And the older gentleman next to me looks like he would not. Like he was like he's set in his ways, and I'm sitting next to him, and I go. He orders, and he goes, "I have a Bud Light," and I kind of looked at him. I'm like, "Yep, I'm gonna have one too." And I just kind of looked over, like, "Really, you, sir, are gonna have a Bud Light?" And he just looked at me. He doesn't miss a beat, and he goes, "It's cheaper." I was like, who can argue with that logic?
Capitalism.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. Their phone number, 833-COOK-DFW. That's 833-COOK-DFW. The website, cookdfw.com. Call for your free roof inspection. See if it's held up from the last storm and if it's ready for the next one. 833-COOK-DFW or cookdfw.com. Trey, what's the link that you just sent me?
Oh, it's to so evidently when Bud Light was just stepping in it and they saved
sending cans to trans.
Yeah, cans to trans. But
I like it.
I guess Biore was the skincare beauty company. I guess was a beneficiary because they evidently, I guess, stepped into it too, but it was just overshadowed. Kind of like Farrah Fawcett dying the same day as Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, I remember that day. I remember I was broadcasting. I was doing a show on the Fan that day when we got news of Farrah Fawcett dying, and then I don't know, maybe within the hour they said, "Oh, Michael Jackson died." So then I had to pivot from talking about being shocked that not only did Farrah Fawcett die, but she died from anal cancer, to then the King of Pop dying as well.
And yeah, I think the thing that it's Michael Jackson. I felt bad because Farrah Fawcett did lose a battle to cancer, and then Michael Jackson died, and you're like, oh, how did that happen? And then you find out what a tremendous drug addict he was, and you're like, oh, okay, like that's.
And it wasn't just normal stuff. I mean, that's like the hardest of the hard stuff.
No. He was doing. Yeah. So what is?
He was doing home anesthesia.
Yeah.
I think the only shocking thing was the fact that he wasn't dead any sooner.
Yeah, it's like I've heard about make your own beer. Like I've heard that before, but like make your at-home anesthetic.
Yeah, I don't think they have like those home propofol kits.
I would love to see that infomercial though. Can't sleep.
It'd be all the rage for Father's Day. Don't know what to get, dear old dad? How about the home propofol brewing kit?
Yeah, all that. I just remember, and this is just because I remember where I was at Russ Martin Automotive, and when Michael Jackson died. But the thing I remember most about that whole period, it was like a week later, and Ryan O'Neal, which if y'all don't know, it was Farrah Fawcett's ex-husband, but
Yeah.
they had this very tumultuous relationship. But it was TMZ in front of him, and he was standing out on the street just screaming and crying. It's like, Farrah died too. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
bad timing.
Exactly. So what's the Biore thing? The timing on that is the no strip people.
So they did a sponsorship, yes, with no strips. That is exactly. They did a
I love those
sponsorship with a social media influencer.
Oh, so it's a similar of pile of poodoo that
Yes.
Bud Light got into.
Yes.
Because Bud Light also was doing stuff with it with an influencer. So Biore said, "Hey, we want in on that."
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, is it- Where's the rest
of
of it, Trey?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought if you play the audio of the ad, you'll see why maybe not the best association.
The no strip people paired up with an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Like a makeup line.
That seems pretty simple.
Like
Okay.
a makeup line, or who is it? Let's see.
Is here, from a school shooting to having no idea what life is going to look like after college. Supportive Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm partnering with Biore Skincare to strip away the stigma of anxiety.
We want you to get it all out. Not only what's in your pores, but most importantly, what's on your mind too. Anxiety in my life has come in waves. I found myself recently struggling from seeing the effects of gun violence firsthand. I've had to intentionally set aside time for prioritizing my mental health. I will never forget the feeling of terror that I had walking around campus for weeks in a place I considered home, with countless anxiety attacks to crying alone in my room at night. My message to you guys is that it's okay not to have it all together. Life continually changes and your thoughts will too. Do things that make you happy and know everything will work itself out. Join me and Biore Skincare in speaking up about mental health by screenshotting this digital card and filling it out yourself.
Oh boy.
Every video posted is a step closer to normalizing conversations about mental health.
So if I want to make sure I get the correlation correct here. So Biore's ad campaign is supposed to be centered around stripping away blackheads. And
Yes.
they thought it would be a good thing to tie in stripping away anxiety about gun violence
Right.
and blackheads.
Mm-hmm.
I think the message got a little diluted.
I don't think that's the...
I've never found solace in a nose strip, but that's just me. I went to a therapist. For those of you that are listening to this show and you're suffering from anxiety or some sort of mental health issue, please don't use Biore. It's not going to,
unless you go see your therapist and the therapist actually hands you a box of Biore strips and says, "Here, these ones."
Now that would be so. My therapist and I would just, as we would talk, we would eat Indian food. Now, if you can do a facial or a mani-pedi with yours, awesome. But make sure that there's still a therapist involved, and not just like, you know what's going to keep me from going over the edge today? This nose strip. Like, no, let's kind of stay away from that angle, because that makes no sense to me. Like, I understand. Like, I got the message. I legitimately did, because I was like, okay, I know what they were trying to say, right?
Trey.
I just don't know how you get to that point where it's like, oh, I mean, you make it sound like, or they make it sound like, well, anxiety is in your blackheads, and so if you strip that away, life is good.
All of a sudden in their advertising, they're going back to like the Middle Ages medical theory, where it's, do you have headaches? Bring on the leeches. Do you have a broken arm? Bring on the leeches. Are you possessed? Guess what?
Wife cheating on you? Throw her in a river.
I mean,
are you feeling stressed? How about a nice can of leeches?
There should be a marketing person for Bud, Anheuser-Busch, Biore, and Target, and they just lock themselves in a room and just figure out who should have the most shame, just shame for the rest of their lives.
Shame.
Shame.
Really? That seems strong.
That is strong coming from you.
If you're a marketing person and your company took a $20 billion hit, yeah, I think there should be some shame.
I think there should be some shame if you're an adult and you still watch Oak Island. Like, how did we skip over that from the last I don't know which episode that was, but you can't talk about shame and be an Oak Island watcher at the same time.
Yeah, throw yourself in that room, Trey. All those businesses and you, and then they look at you and go, "Why are you here?" And then you have to tell them. You have to tell them to their Target and Bud Light and Biore faces, "I watch Oak Island."
Yeah, they came up with that marketing plan with you in the room watching Oak Island. That's how they came up with all those marketing ideas. That is the dumbest show in the history of shows. Nothing. It's okay. There's only one show.
Let the man
dumber.
defend himself.
Yeah, it's not the dumbest show. There's plenty of other reality
Finding
shows.
Bigfoot. I'll give you Finding Bigfoot is the dumbest. Oh my God!
The Bachelor, Bachelorette.
Hey, you stay away from my Bachelor shows.
They're trying to find love. You're trying to find a Yeti. You're trying to find
at least when we all know which one of those does not exist.
Love.
At least there's an element of Oak Island that, you know, if with history, like there are some really weird things that happened up there during those times, and so
so real quick, the only thing I know about Oak Island is it's like a couple of guys looking for something. And it's multiple seasons of them having never found it, right?
It's an island off Nova Scotia that these brothers have bought most of, and they
can we back up real quick? These two very, very white brothers. Let's just
they're from Michigan.
Yes. So
one is obviously one is obviously was very successful in an oil drilling company, and then he has a vineyard, and the other brother is the screw up who I think got him involved in Oak Island.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the one brother actually has bona fide success of finding something in the oil.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other one's like, here's the Native American arrowhead, and here's the Masonic rock. And you're like, what? Like, stay tuned for season 2. Like, what the hell just happened? Like,
I mean, they find, I mean, and their stuff, because there is all sorts of history of, was it Knights Templar? Was it, there are all sorts of things that, what came through North America and when. But I quit after 6 seasons, but I did
6.
Yeah,
6 seasons.
Well, it's one of those. If you're
was
ever
it
having
some sort of
day,
principled stand that you made?
No, it really. You just after the first couple seasons, you're like, I have invested this much time. Maybe they're going to find something, and so, and I had a friend of mine who was like. And then I even said, I even posted, I'm like, this is it's the dumbest show ever. And you know what? I have a little bit of shame for the fact that I did devote 6 seasons of that. I'll grant you that.
It takes a big man to admit that, Trey.
I mean, it's not Bud Light or New Coke shame, but there is a little bit of.
At least Biore pulled the ad. You know what I mean? Biore's like, thank God that just went to YouTube.
Yeah. Oak Island's like, all right, we're gearing up for season 12.
The reunion episode. Yeah, that is. But that and finding. And here's. I'll admit it. I'm a Ghost Adventures guy, and I know half of that has to be rigged. I get it. Like, it's just the fun part.
Oh, you're throwing stones about watching, and you watch Ghost Adventures?
Absolutely. I used to when I would mostly for the drinking game. If you ever hear them go, "What was that?" If you take a shot, you won't make it past minute 6 of that show. You'll just be effed up beyond belief. That was
therein lies the great irony, Raj, is that Trey managed to go through 6 seasons of Oak Island sober.
Sober. That's right.
That means that was a sober choice Trey made. And then he realized, realized after 6 seasons of watching Oak Island, he had hit rock bottom twice.
He hit rock bottom before they did.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
Found something.
You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of The Treehouse is brought to you by Brooks Plumbing. 214-368-3838. That's 214-368-3838 for any and all of your plumbing needs. Call Brooks Plumbing or the website brooksplumbingtexas.com. brooksplumbingtexas.com. I realized there's a noise I haven't heard in a while and I've missed hearing it. And then when you hear the noise too, you're going to say, "Ooh, I think I know where he's going with this." And then I also want to see if it makes you feel good too. Are you ready?
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I haven't heard that in a hot minute. All right.
Doesn't it?
Oh,
It's funny you mentioned hot minute, Raj, because a Melbourne, Australia man has been charged with arson and having live ducklings in his underwear.
Simultaneously?
Yes.
Yes.
So he's breaking multiple laws at the same time, and one of those laws does indeed include the ducklings.
Or he's breaking multiple records. I don't know what he's trying to. I don't know which one he's trying to do.
It really could be both. An alleged firebug. Australia's always got to twist stuff, and like here we just say arsonist, but whatever. An alleged firebug in Melbourne's southeast was caught with live ducklings in his underwear. That's according to police.
No.
The 31-year-old man was arrested on Sunday night after 12 fires were reported across the Frankston CBD over the weekend. I'm assuming that's Central Business District. The small fires included blazes in a loading dock, behind a school, in a shop car park, outside a real estate agent's office, and in several trash bins. After the arrest, police searched the man and then allegedly found 2 live ducklings in his underwear. He's been charged with animal cruelty. I don't know if the ducks were hurt in his underwear in any way, but still. Reckless conduct, endangering serious injury, 4 counts of lighting an open air fire, possessing a weapon, and negligently dealing with proceeds of a crime. And I believe he's still in jail waiting for an arraignment or an attorney or some type of visit from Australia Fish and Game. I'm sorry, but all I can imagine this guy doing is running around, starting fires, and as he lights the fire, he just screams out, "I f*** ducks!" And I'm assuming that's how the police were able to find him.
Yeah,
and I'm also assuming that's where the animal cruelty charges came from.
Having been previously married to an Australian, that story, not shocking at all. I'm like,
for the briefest moment, I thought you were going to say not true.
No, I'm just like, par for the course. That sounds.
So your ex-wife also ran around with ducklings in her underwear?
The stories that you hear about some of the stuff that they
or did she make you run around with them in your underwear?
No, so that's the best part.
Or did she set fire to something?
Yes, she was a pirate.
All of Raj's underwear.
Yes. The irony of it is they call like Speedos and or like tight like the tighty whities, they call them budgie smugglers, and budgie is a type of bird. And so I think he was living up to the name of said underwear is why he had. Now, I mean, I was just trying to justify why a grown man had ducklings in his underwear, and I now know the shame of Oak Island. Yeah. So, yeah. So, but when I hear that, unless it's like even if it was like Australian man fights kangaroo, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like that, like it. No story about us. Having heard like the stuff that she told me about her friends growing up, I'm like, yeah, this is a Friday night. Like that guy was having a good time. The police effed up his mojo. Is what happened. He was having a great time, setting some fires, got some ducklings in his drawers. Hey man, that's a solid Friday in Melbourne. I'm just saying, nothing surprises me.
Australia is basically the equivalent. I mean, like if Florida was a continent, it would be Australia.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I love the people, the friends that I've made from there. But like their story, like if you would tell this story to them, they'd be like, "Yeah, about right."
We have one of those in our town too.
His name is Steve.
I don't usually use it twice, but it just felt so nice the first time. I figured, why not? And not to be outdone, Trey, do you know where this story took place? Like, do you know a country?
Yes. New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay. I thought it was in that general vicinity. So
Australia's stepbrother. Yeah, okay, good.
So I don't know if you guys are aware. Raj, you may be aware since you were at one point married to an Australian woman, but there is a little bit of sibling rivalry between the Aussies and the Kiwis. So New Zealand, is that little brother of Australia, and sometimes they'll do things to also get thrown into the news, feeling left out because Australia is getting all the attention.
Yep.
And this may be a classic example of that. Maybe the people in this story were jealous of the Friday night in Australia that the one arsonist had with the ducklings, because this quiz team from New Zealand thought it'd be a good idea to dress as Ku Klux Klan members at a community fundraiser while doing a quiz game.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The men dressed in white Ku Klux Klan hoods and carrying a gasoline can attended a quiz night on August 19th and called their team Give Us a Clue.
Wow.
Anyone else afraid to giggle at that?
I will.
It is good wordplay, but still a terrible idea. I'll give props on the wordplay, but terrible idea. The evening
all around terrible idea.
Yeah. The evening was held at a council meeting hall and organized by a community group to raise money for a charity. Of course, the KKK is a clandestine white supremacist organization from the United States, which terrorized the country for many, 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 many years. I really don't know if there's a better example of what not to do than this.
Is there a picture of this? Do you have a picture of this moment?
I do not.
Okay,
the link that Trey sent, I did not see a photo.
I thought.
Oh wait, yeah, I believe there is.
Yeah.
Oh, that is. Yeah, I see. I always wonder this. Like, I always wonder, because this is when the logical side of my brain comes out. Like, oh yeah, that is wow.
You just saw the photo, didn't you?
Yeah, that is wow. I see. This is what I was trying to say. This is the logical side of my brain. How do you? Okay, I can see if it's like I can't see, but I can in my brain go. There's two guys going, "Hey, this is what we should do," and the other guy goes, "No, come on, man." And the other guy goes, "Okay." How do you get other people to go? That is a great idea. And then the guy that goes, "I'll bring the gas can," and you're going, "Okay, there's something wrong with Mike." Like, that's what I'm like that. How do you? I don't know how that works. I don't know how you get a group of people to go, "Yes." What we've been doing with these sheets this whole time. I'm like, I don't know.
We've been so ridiculous to sleep on them when there's so many other impractical uses.
What are you wearing to the quiz event?
I just did. Is the KKK like global now, or were they just watching like a Mel Brooks movie and they thought, oh, this would be funny idea of make fun of the Americans?
I don't think the Klan is global, but stupidity is. Stupidity knows no borders. And I would also and I would also like to point out that while this is a freakishly terrible idea and a horrific thing to actually do, like the idea of doing it is bad enough, but then they actually went through with it makes it even worse, right?
Yeah.
All that being said, I would absolutely watch on TV the mashup of Jerry Springer meets Jeopardy. I would watch that new game show. That would be the new Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you've got 30 million people tuning in to see, the Klan versus the Black Panthers
Oh,
versus
yeah.
little people of America, and everyone's just fighting everyone, but with buzzers.
Oh, this is the greatest Avengers Endgame I've ever heard of. It's like,
I'll take
Avengers
I'll take
Assemble.
cheating midgets for 600.
Trey, no, you can't say midgets anymore.
Mm-mm.
Sorry.
How dare you?
Little people.
Infidelity. Little people with infidelity for 600, Alex.
That would be an amazing category. First of all, that would be that's right next to potent potables.
At that point, though, would the little person buzz in and say, "Actually, I think I prefer midget now"? Be sure to follow all things Treehouse at treehouseonair.com. And of course, be sure to like, listen, follow, enjoy, rate, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Treehouse at treehouseonair.com. On social media at treehouseonair. For me, it's at the Dan O'Malley. For Trey, it's at Trey Trenholm1. And for Raj, it's at Comedian Raj. And we are open for business. Contact us here in the Treehouse for your advertising and sponsorship opportunities.
Yes,
See you next time.
Can I
Oh,
plug
and
my
I'm sorry,
show?
and Raj, you have a gig to plug.
September 2nd, I will be at the Dallas Comedy Club in Deep Ellum, and on September 20th, I will be headlining the Addison Improv in Addison, Texas. So come find me, come by and say hello. Let's have some laughs.
We'll see you next time in the Treehouse.
See ya.
Yep.